feel a need to help you with some stress. So that's one very valuable approach. And another, of course, is through meditation. Um, Spirituality, as I've said, uh, and there are studies that have shown it, can really bring you a great relief from stress and bring you great mental wellness. Um, but it has to do with how it's approached. You know, spirituality often is as, and I've made this point many times on this show. It's often bound in religious terms. And spirituality and religion are not the same thing. In fact, they're quite often radically different things, or they quite often work at cross purposes. Spirituality is a human trait, I believe, that is ingrained, and there's research that has shown that we actually have a genetic component, part of our DNA, uh, called the VMAT2 gene, that is the gene that makes us aware of, or gives us a feeling of transcendence, of connection to something greater. And that's what spirituality is. It's openness to something greater, an ultimate reality, if you will, or a higher level of being. And this can be achieved through contemplation, and that can involve prayer. It can involve meditation. It can involve activities such as yoga. It can also involve creative expression. As a musician and someone who's been, and an actor and someone who's been involved in writing and creating most of my life. That has been a spiritual outlet for me. I guess you could say, in many ways, for creative people, that's their religion, that's their church, that's where they go. So there are ways in which you can sort of increase your sense of spiritual connection. There is a concept called spiritual direction. Spiritual direction is a process in which you find someone called a spiritual director. This is someone who's a trusted companion, who supports you in your spiritual journey. Someone you can talk to and explain your spiritual perspective on things without judgment, without fear of recrimination, or any kind of negativity. And the spiritual director can help you as you begin to unfold and begin to open to greater awareness in your life. So that can be a very valuable, very valuable thing. And spiritual director doesn't have to be affiliated with a church of any kind, although there are those that are Catholic and those that are come from other faiths. But spiritual direction works you know, across all faiths. So, that is a way of really exploring your spiritual development. And personally, this is an opinion now, but I think that it is often a better way of really developing your spiritual side than attending a church, abiding by prescribed, customs and rules and laws that often go hand in hand with a particular faith, that may or may not have meaning or resonance in your own personal spiritual development. And of course, more and more, we're finding people moving in that direction. They may move away from a church or a organized religion, or they may stay with it, but find themselves needing to do other things to feel spiritually connected. So, spiritual direction can often be a way of helping to increase your spirituality, which then goes to help increase your mental wellness. So let's talk about what mental illness is. What does the term mean? Wellness, as I mentioned, is relatively new in our vernacular. But it has to do with a holistic approach, and so mental wellness is an even newer concept. That was apparently introduced, in counseling and therapy, somewhere early part of the 21st century. And it's not just a pop psychology term. It actually has a, concrete meaning. And it's part of the future of medicine. We talk about the transition era that we are living in, where things are changing. Well, part of this is how we treat our mental health. And the idea of mental wellness is this movement, as I mentioned. All healthcare is moving towards the holistic, concept. And even our presidential candidates are looking at holistic healthcare and treating the whole person. So, the best definition may be the idea of mental wellness being a holistic approach in which mind, body, and spirit are integrated. It is a way of life oriented towards optimal health and well-being, in which body, mind, and spirit are integrated in a purposeful manner with a goal of living life more fully. Wellness is more than just the absence of disease or a state defined as health. It incorporates a concern for optimal functioning. So that involves, prevention as well as everything else. So mental wellness is intertwined with your physical wellness and your spiritual wellness. They can't be separated. So some of the areas that, can help you in integrating the aspects of yourself are to, look at the different aspects of yourself and what they mean to you. For instance, you have your creative self. That involves, being mentally active and having a sense of curiosity, being able to problem solve problems, particularly social difficulties, it involves the emotions, feeling what you feel and being able to express it um, in a way that helps. Self-control, belief about your competency, confidence, and personal mastery. Uh, you know, an optimism that you can, achieve the goals you set out for, or at least make, good progress towards them. Uh, Having a good work environment, satisfying work, and feeling that you are being, you have an outlet for your skills that works, and that your job is secure. Those are things, again, these are environmental factors too, because there are a lot of people in jobs that maybe they like their job, but in today's times, the idea of stability or security is an issue, because you never know, when the job you do or the company you work for may go under. But the feeling that you can go on, that you're good at what you do and can take that anywhere, that I believe is the real sense of job security that you want to aim for. And humor, laughing every day, so important. Now there's also something called the coping self that has to do with managing your stress. We talked about how we do some stress management through meditation or through, owning a pet or whatever. And it has to do with, accepting yourself for who you are, and feeling that you are enough. Everything that you are is good and important. And a lot of times we want to work on ourselves and change things that we don't like. And, while that can be positive, I think it's more important to understand and accept who you are. Because if you're constantly nitpicking at yourself and saying, well, I got to change that, I got to change this, and you become frustrated, because sometimes you can change things and sometimes you can't. Yeah, if you have health problems, or you're overweight, or maybe you feel like you're drinking too much and you'd like to stop that, or decrease it, those are things that you can do, but you won't be able to do them successfully till you have a positive sense of self-worth. And it's kind of a paradox, because you may have lower self-esteem because you're eating too much or drinking too much. But that lower self-esteem is the one thing that will keep you from not making the change that you want to make. So, being patient with yourself and continuing to try, even when you might not achieve what it is you're trying to achieve, or you take a step back or what have you. But knowing that you can do it, that's the key. So then you have the social self, which is the ability to be intimate, trusting, to give love and express love, to have friendships, that connect you to a community, but don't have, sexual or marital or familial components to them. They're just the ability to trust other people that aren't, in your inner circle. Then your essential self, that's where your spirituality comes in. Your personal beliefs, your hope and optimism, how you pray or meditate, your sense of a purpose in life, your sense of connection and oneness with the universe, the idea of transcendence. That's your essential self. That's the truth of who and what we really are, the essential self. Now there are other factors too, that I haven't talked about because